You graduate with a CPA and take a job at a mid-tier firm in Miami. $58,000 a year, fluorescent lights, a cubicle that smells like stale coffee and carpet cleaner. You spend tax season buried in spreadsheets for small business owners who lie about their deductions and argue about your fees. You're good at your job. That's the problem. One of your clients owns a chain of car washes across Dade County. 4 locations, all cash heavy, all doing suspiciously well for businesses in strip malls next to check cashing places. You notice the numbers don't add up. Revenue per car is too high. Customer counts don't match water usage. You mention it during a quarterly review, and the client smiles. He slides an envelope across the desk, $50,000 in hundreds. He says the numbers are fine the way they are. He says he appreciates someone who pays attention to detail. He says there might be more work for someone who knows when to stop asking questions.
You should report it. You should flag the account and hand it over to your supervisor and let someone else deal with it. Instead, you adjust the depreciation schedules, smooth out the revenue curves, and make 4 car washes in Miami look like the most profitable hand wash operations in the state of Florida. You deposit the $5,000 in your savings account and tell yourself it's a gray area. Accountants make judgment calls every day. This is just another judgment call, a $5,000 judgment call. It won't be the last. Chapter 2. The Introduction. The car wash client takes you to dinner 3 weeks later. A steakhouse in Brickell, the kind of place where the menu doesn't have prices. There's a man at the table you've never seen before. No introduction, no handshake. He watches you eat for 20 minutes before he says a word. He needs someone good with numbers and bad with questions, someone who understands how money moves, how it's tracked, how it's reported, someone who can make dirty money look clean and clean money look boring. He speaks quietly and without emotion, the way someone talks about replacing a transmission or scheduling a dental appointment. Your first job is $200,000 in cash, delivered in a duffel bag to a storage unit in Hialeah. You run it through a Dominican restaurant on Flagler Street that barely sells enough food to keep the fryers hot. Fake catering invoices, inflated vendor payments, a carefully constructed fiction that turns drug money into taxable income. The money is untraceable within 72 hours. You earn $20,000 for a weekend's work. Your annual salary at the firm, divided by 52, comes out to $1,115 a week before taxes. You quit your job on Monday and tell your family you're starting a private consulting practice. Nobody asks what you're consulting on. Chapter 3. The System. You build the machine piece by piece. 3 shell companies in Florida, 2 in Delaware, 1 in Nevada. Each one feeds into the next like nesting dolls, each layer adding distance between the cash in its source. You buy businesses, laundromats, parking garages, nail salons, a vending machine route that covers half of Broward County. All cash heavy, all plausible, all generating revenue that exists only on paper. You hire real employees who serve real customers and have no idea that the books they're working from are fiction. Bookkeepers who think the numbers are real. Managers who think the owner is a quiet investor who likes his privacy. You learn the thresholds. $10,000 triggers a currency transaction report, so you structure deposits at $8,500 and $9,200 and $7,800 across dozens of accounts at different banks. You rotate the amounts. You rotate the banks. You never deposited the same branch twice in 1 week. The tellers see a small business owner making normal deposits. The software sees transactions that fall just below the line. Within a year, you're cleaning $3 million a month. The cartel pays you 8%, which means you're earning $240,000 every 30 days to do arithmetic and keep your mouth shut. You file taxes on every dollar of your cut, reporting it as consulting income, because the stupidest thing a money launderer can do is get caught for tax evasion. You learn that from history. Al Capone didn't go down for murder. He went down for taxes. You're not going to make that mistake. Chapter 4. The Lifestyle. The money lets you build a life that looks legitimate from every angle. You buy a house in Coral Gables, 4 bedrooms, a pool, a 2-car garage with a Tesla and a BMW parked inside. You join a country club where you play golf with attorneys and real estate developers and a city commissioner who always needs a fourth. You donate to children's hospitals and hurricane relief funds and the re-election campaigns of judges who believe in judicial restraint. You're a pillar of the community. You're on the board of a charter school. Your wife thinks you're a financial consultant for international clients, which is technically true if you tilt your head and squint. She doesn't ask why you keep a second phone in a locked drawer in your office. She doesn't want to know. People rarely do when the answer might ruin everything. You move money offshore. Cayman accounts under shell company names, crypto wallets converting cash to Bitcoin, to Monero, to clean wire transfers that land in European banks as investment returns. Then the cartel sends Fuentes. He shows up at your office on a Tuesday. No appointment, no warning. He's your new overseer. He reviews your books every month and reports directly to people whose names you'll never know. He's polite. He's thorough. He tells you about the launderer in Houston who came up $140,000 short last quarter. They found pieces of him in 3 different counties. You don't come up short. Chapter 5, The Expansion.
5 years in, you're handling operations for the entire eastern seaboard. You have a team now, though none of them know they're a team. Accountants in Atlanta, a real estate attorney in New York, a freight broker in New Jersey, a crypto specialist in Tampa who thinks he's working for a hedge fund. Each one sees their piece and nothing else. You're the only person who sees the whole board. You buy condos in Miami and New York with Cartel cash, hold them for 6 months, flip them to clean buyers at market rate. You set up an import-export company that invoices for shipments of auto parts between Miami and Bogota. The parts don't exist. The invoices do. You're washing $15 million a month, and the IRS could audit you tomorrow and find nothing, because every dollar has a paper trail that leads exactly where you want it to lead. Then you see where the money comes from. Fuentes brings you to a warehouse in Opalaca to explain a logistics problem. There's $8 million in cash stacked on pallets, wrapped in plastic, smelling like chemicals and mildew. There's also a man zip-tied to a chair in the corner, with a face so swollen you can't tell his age. Fuentes doesn't explain, and you don't ask. On the drive home, you pull over on the shoulder of the Palmetto Expressway and sit there for 40 minutes. You drive home. You pour a drink. You open your laptop and start building a new shell company. Everyone is someone else's problem when you're the one counting the money.
Chapter 6, The Pressure.
The first sign of trouble is a letter from FinCEN. 3 of your shell companies have been flagged for suspicious activity reports. Someone in the Treasury Department noticed a pattern, a cluster of companies with overlapping directors filing similar transaction volumes in similar time frames. It's the kind of thing that looks like nothing until someone decides it looks like something. You have 48 hours to dismantle the companies and reroute $6 million through clean channels. You burn the corporate structures, shred the paper trails, close the bank accounts, and create 3 new entities with new directors and new EINs and new banks before the week is out. You lose 2 weeks of sleep rebuilding what took you months to construct. Then nothing happens. No follow-up letter, no subpoena, no agents at your door. That's almost worse, because now you don't know if the flag was routine or if someone is watching and waiting. You swap your phone every 2 weeks and run counter-surveillance software on your laptop. 3 months pass. You start to relax. Then Fuentes calls on a Saturday. A DEA informant has been asking questions about luxury condo purchases in Brickell, specifically purchases made through LLCs with no obvious source of capital. Your condos, your LLCs. Someone is pulling the thread. You hire a lawyer. He costs $400,000 and it comes out of your own cut, because the cartel doesn't pay for your mistakes. He makes calls. He files motions. He buries the inquiry in procedural objections and jurisdictional arguments that will take 18 months to resolve. Maybe longer. Maybe long enough. You start keeping ledger. Every name, every date, every account number, every transaction you've ever touched, stored on an encrypted drive in a safe deposit box in the Bahamas.
Insurance, because you've learned that loyalty in this business has a shelf life, and yours is getting shorter every day. Chapter 7. The Reckoning. The FBI arrests your banker on a Wednesday morning. Marcus Chen, Senior Vice President of Commercial Accounts at a regional bank in Coral Gables, the man who approved your wire transfers without filing suspicious activity reports, the man who looked the other way on structuring violations because you paid him $30,000 a month to keep his eyes on his shoes. He's facing 20 years for money laundering conspiracy, bank fraud, and failure to maintain an anti-money laundering program. The feds are offering him 5 if he gives them the next person up the chain. You are the next person up the chain. You get a call from a number you don't recognize. A voice you've never heard tells you to check the news. You open your laptop, and Marcus Chen's face is on every channel, walking out of his house in handcuffs at 6 a.m. You know what comes next. You've always known. You have options. You can run. You have money in multiple countries and a passport under a name the State Department has never heard of. You can cooperate, walk into the FBI field office, hand over the ledger, and hope that witness protection can keep you alive longer than the cartel's memory. You can call Fuentes, tell him about Marcus, and let the organization handle the problem the way it handles every problem. You sit in your home office and stare at the encrypted drive in your hand. The ledger contains enough information to dismantle a billion-dollar drug operation across 14 states. It also contains enough information to put you in prison for the rest of your natural life. Fuentes calls before you decide. He already knows about Marcus. He tells you to sit tight. He tells you the organization takes care of its people. He tells you that Marcus had a family, and it would be a shame if anything happened to yours. You hear the threat underneath the reassurance. You've always heard it. You just used to be able to pretend you didn't. Chapter 8. The Cycle. You're 47 years old. You have a beautiful house and a wife who doesn't know you, and $11 million in accounts she'll never find. You have a ledger that could burn down an empire or bury you beneath it. You have a phone that won't stop buzzing with calls from people who want to help you and people who want to silence you, and you're not entirely sure which is which. You pour a drink and watch the sun go down over Biscayne Bay. Somewhere out there, the feds are building a case. Somewhere out there, Marcus Chen is sitting in a holding cell deciding whether your freedom is worth more than his. And somewhere in Miami, a young accountant at a mid-tier firm is staring at numbers that don't add up. A client with a chain of car washes is sliding an envelope across the desk. $5,000 in hundreds. The accountant has a mortgage, student loans, a kid on the way. It's a gray area. Accountants make judgment calls every day.